Welcome. This isn't just an English story. It's a story about why real English sounds so different from what you learned. Maybe you can understand every word in your English lessons. Maybe you can read English without problems. But when native speakers talk, everything seems to become one long sound. You think they are speaking too fast. But what if the problem isn't speed? What if your ears are listening for the wrong sounds? Today's story is about David discovering why native English sounds so different. Now, let's begin. David thought his listening was improving. Every day he practiced English. He watched videos. He listened to podcasts. He followed English lessons without many problems. He felt proud. I can understand English much better now. One day, David joined a conversation with native speakers. They were talking about work. Someone turned to him and asked, "Did you finish the report?" David knew every word. Did you finish the report? But when the sentence came together, it sounded like one unclear sound. David looked confused. He knew the vocabulary. He understood the meaning when he read it, but he couldn't catch it in a real conversation. The person repeated the question, "Did you finish the report?" This time, a little slower. Suddenly, David understood. He answered, "Yes, I finished it this morning." But on his way home, one question stayed in his mind. "I know these words, so why can't I hear them?" After that day, David started testing himself. He found short conversations online. He listened carefully. Then, he slowed them down. At 0.75 speed, suddenly, everything became clear. He heard the words. He understood the meaning. David smiled. "I can understand this, but normal speed is impossible." He tried another conversation. The same thing happened. Slow speed, easy, normal speed. Confusing, David started to believe something. Maybe native speakers really do talk too fast. But there was one thing he couldn't explain. The words didn't change. The sentence was the same, only the speed was different. David wondered, if I know these words, why do they sound completely different in real conversations? The next day, David decided to listen differently. This time, he didn't focus on the meaning. He focused on the sounds. He played a short conversation again. Then he noticed something strange. People were not saying every word clearly. Want to didn't sound like two separate words. Going to sounded shorter. Did you sounded different from his English lessons. The words were connecting. Some sounds became weaker. Some sounds almost disappeared. David listened again. The sentence was the same. The words were the same, but the way people said them had changed. For the first time, David understood something important. He wasn't missing the words. He was missing the way the words connected. The next day, David told his teacher what he had discovered. "Why do native speakers sound so fast? I know the words, but when they speak naturally, I can't catch them." His teacher smiled. "They are not always speaking faster." David looked surprised. "Then why do they sound so different?" The teacher explained. "In real conversations, people don't say every word separately. They connect words together. Some sounds become weaker. Some sounds are not stressed. Some words are stronger. Others are softer." David thought about what he had heard. The teacher continued, "Your ears learned English one word at a time. But real conversations don't come that way. Real English comes in groups of sounds." David nodded. For the first time, he understood the real problem. His ears were waiting for textbook English, but people were speaking natural English. The teacher gave David a simple challenge. For 1 week, don't slow every conversation down. David looked worried, but I still don't understand everything. The teacher smiled. That's okay. Your goal is not to catch every single word. Your goal is to help your ears get used to real English. The teacher gave him a simple exercise. Listen to natural conversations for 10 minutes every day. First, listen for the meaning, and then listen again for the sounds. Notice how words connect. Notice how sentences flow, but don't stop every few seconds. Don't chase every missing word. That evening, David started practicing. The first few days were difficult. He still missed many sounds. Sometimes he felt frustrated, but he continued, little by little. The conversations started to feel less strange. After a few weeks, David noticed something surprising. Native speakers still sounded natural. They still connected words. They still reduced sounds, but they didn't sound impossible anymore. David told his teacher, I still don't hear every single word, but I understand much more. The teacher smiled. That's because your brain is learning patterns. When you hear the same sound combinations again and again, your brain starts recognizing them faster. You are not learning new words. You are learning new ways to hear words you already know. David thought about his old listening habits. He was always waiting for each word to sound clear. But real conversations didn't work that way. The teacher continued. Good listeners don't only hear sounds. They recognize meaning. They use the situation. They use the words around them. David nodded. The problem was never that his ears were bad. His ears just needed more experience with real English. A few weeks later, David joined another conversation at work. People were talking about their projects. Someone turned to him and asked, Did you finish the report? For a moment, David remembered the first time he heard that question. Back then, the words disappeared. The sentence felt impossible. But this time, he didn't panic. He listened to the whole sound, not every single word. The meaning became clear. Yes, I finished it this morning. His coworker nodded. Great, can you send it to me later? Sure, I'll send it this afternoon. The conversation continued. Nobody slowed down. Nobody changed the way they spoke. The English was exactly the same. The only difference was David's ears. For the first time, real English didn't sound too fast. It sounded familiar. David still practiced English every day. He still learned new words. He still improved his grammar, but he stopped expecting every word to sound the way it looked. He finally understood. Real English is not a collection of separate words. It is a flow of sounds. Your problem is not that native speakers talk too fast. Your ears just need more time with real English. So don't only learn how words look. Learn how words sound. Because English is not only something you read. It is something you hear. And the more real English you hear, the more natural it becomes.